Perfect. Okay, welcome back, gentlemen. Okay, so first of all, we always say, and we need to say, that the reason that we're learning this high material is not for our egos and not to fly into the heavens. The reason is because the Baal Shem Tov the Baal Shem Tov received permission to reveal very, very high concepts in order that Klal Yisrael should use these concepts for avodas Hashem, for davening, for learning, for doing mitzvahs, and that is the reason why we're doing this shir. And that's what it's all about. That is our kavanah. Okay. So now, in our last shir, first of all, let me say where we're up to. So in the Sefer, we are up to page Kuf Ayin.
The new season could start the 16th to 17th.
Actually, one second. Actually, Kuf. We can use. We can start a Kuf Ayin. I'll just do a very, very quick because we almost made it to the end of the parak, but not quite. So I will just make a very, very quick review of what we were saying in this parak. In this parak, we were saying that in order to connect all of the worlds from the lowest world to the highest place, which is Ein Sof Baruch Hu, Kaviyachol, in order to do that, we have to connect the Yud and the Hey and the Vav and the Hey together. That means to say that in this world, because of our Averis, so it seems to be that the excuse me. It seems to be that the Yud and the Hey and the Vav and the Hey have separated from each other. It actually says that the Yud and the Hey never separate, but the Hey to the Vav and the Vav to the next Hey, there can be a separation. Now actually, it's really an illusion, because really Hashem is all one and there's no separation, chas v'shalom. But in this world, because we are in a concealed world, so it appears to us as if there is a separation, and the way that that's expressed is, like I said, Yud and Hey never get separated. The Svarim say, the Arizal says it's like two friends, close friends that never separate. But then you have the Vav and the Hey, and there could be a separation between Yud Hey and the Vav, or the Vav and the second Hey. And that's where the problems start. And when there's a separation due to our Averis, so what happens means that the flow is interrupted, and the flow of all good things going from Ein Sof, from Hashem, all the way down to us, is interrupted. And so that means in Gashmias and Ruchnias, the physical benefits are interrupted. So that means people will have chas v'shalom parnasa problems, or people will chas v'shalom have health problems. That's all because the Yud and Hey and Vav and Hey are not properly connected, and there's a problem in the flow. And certainly spiritual issues, right? If everything is connected, so we're all spiritually balanced, and we're davening fantastic, and we're learning fantastic, we're doing mitzvahs in a fantastic way. But when there is this separation, so we feel further from Hashem, and we are further from Hashem because of this separation, and then we feel less holiness, and we have more of a desire to do the wrong things, etc., etc. So the goal in this world is to connect the Yud Hey to the Vav to the Hey. Oh, great! Shmuli's here. Wonderful. That is the goal, and so ultimately, when we do all of our mitzvahs, that's ultimately what we're doing. Now, in this parak that we're about to finish, what the Mechaber said was an amazing thing. That he gave a reason why Yaakov Avinu had to marry two wives. And what he says is that Yaakov Avinu is connected the Vav. He represented the Vav in Yud K, Vav K. And the first Hey, Yud Hey, that Hey, represented Leah. And the second Hey, Yud Hey, Vav Hey, that second Hey represented Rachel. And in order to connect the entire Yud, Hey, and Vav and Hey, he had the Yud and the Hey are always together. We said that, but there's a separation between the Vav and the Hey. So what he had to do, Yaakov Avinu represented the Vav, and so when he married Leah, he was connecting himself as the Vav to Leah, the Hey of Yud K Vav K. So what you had now was a connection of Yud and Hey and Vav. And then, when he married Rachel, so he connected himself to the final Hey. So now you were able to have a connection of Yud and Hey and Vav and Hey, and Hashem's name is all one, and that caused great flow of physical and spiritual energy to come down from the highest places to our world. And so, a few interesting takes on this Torah. The first take is that the stories that we hear about in Chumash they did actually happen in a physical way. But if you think that they're just stories, you're very, very mistaken. They did happen in a physical way, and the story did happen that way. However, there were giant spiritual accomplishments happening through those stories. So it looked like Yaakov Avinu. So that's the first thing, that the stories did happen, but they mean much, much, much higher concepts. That's number one. Number two, an amazing take that you can take home from this is that Lavan tricked Yaakov Avinu, because the deal was that Yaakov Avinu was going to work for 7 years for Rachel. That was the deal. And Lavan, for whatever reason, decided that no, he's going to trick Yaakov Avinu and give Yaakov Avinu Leah and not Rachel. And so the interesting thing is like this, that Lavan meant it for evil intentions. Lavan did not, when Lavan was doing this, his cheshbon was not that, oh, Yaakov Avinu will marry 2 wives, and Yaakov Avinu is connected to Vav, and Leah is connected the first day, and Rachel is connected the second day, and he'll marry both of them, and that's why I'm going to do this trick on Yaakov Avinu to accomplish this great spiritual feat. That was not Lavan's kavanah. It was not his intention. His intention was just to cheat Yaakov. But what you see from here is an amazing thing. And it's a rule, a general rule that happens in this world. And the rule is that Hashem will use evil people to do His will. And that's a very important lesson. In other words, even though the evil people themselves want to do evil, but Hashem will use those people, even with their evil intentions, to create a much greater good. The classic, there's a zillion examples of this, but the very classic example from Chumash, you know what I want to say? Where do we see a classic example of Hashem, of people trying to do something bad and evil to somebody, and it ends up being the greatest thing in the world?
First thing that comes to mind, the brothers selling Joseph.
Oh, perfect. So Arya got it. When the brothers decided to sell Yosef, their intention was to get rid of him, and for whatever reason, but they wanted him out of the picture. Okay, there's even midrashim, they really wanted to kill him, but in the end they decided not to kill him. They would throw him in a pit, and then they were trying to figure out what to do with him. Then Yishmaelim came, they sold him to Yishmaelim. They sold him, the Yishmaelim took him away. So the brothers of Yosef did not mean anything good. They only meant, unfortunately, the opposite of good. And Yosef actually says this at the end when he reveals himself, and he says, Ani Yosef, I am Yosef, and they're all dumbfounded. And they were all terrified because now they were sure that Yosef is going to take revenge and kill them. And he said, no, there's an open pasuk in Chumash, and the pasuk says, you intended to do ra to me, evil to me, but Hashem worked it out that it was good. Why was it good? Because in the end what ended up happening is that Yosef became the second in command in Egypt, and he was in a position to save Egypt from a terrible hunger that was going on throughout the world, and through that he was able to bring all of his father and all of his siblings and all of the 70 members of Klal Yisrael to Egypt, and through that the Jewish race grew and prospered, and etc., 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 etc. So in the end, it was Hashem's intention that this should happen, and even though the brothers meant it in an evil way, but Hashem took those intentions, and not only did he make good out of it, he saved all of Klal Yisrael from that. So that's the general rule, that Hashem will even take evil people with their evil intentions and have, through his manipulating the situation, will have good come out of those evil intentions. Okay, so that is what we said last week. We almost finished the parak, but we're going to finish it now. So let's go now. So the first thing I want to do is, if you go to page Kuf Ayin Aleph, and so we're going to read now in the second paragraph. V'lachein lo haya Yaakov Avinu be'oil Leah shehei ilah. Well, let me first read it and then I'll explain it. Therefore, Yaakov Avinu was only spent time in the tent of Leah, who represented the higher hay, or the first hay in the name Yud Kei Vav Kei. The first hay is what she represented. Rak lefrakim. Yaakov Avinu only spent some time in the tent of Leah. Ki avoida harishoina be'asiya b'poyol, he tamid ha'avoida ha'ikris. Because the first avoida, the physical avoida, doing it b'poyol, actually doing the mitzvah, is the main part of the mitzvah. In other words, what we said last week when we spoke about this was that the main thing is, let's talk about the mitzvah of tefillin, okay? The main thing is a person has to put on tefillin, period. If you don't put on tefillin, chas v'shalom, you're mevatel a mitzvah say daraisa, right? You lost out one of the 613 mitzvahs of the Torah. So A number one is a person has to put on tefillin in the morning. Now, once the tefillin are on, he can start having this kavana and that kavana, and he can think about certain things. There's all kinds of hidurim, beautification. He can beautify the mitzvah through the kavanas and through the davening that he's going to do with that tefillin, or the tilim, or the learning, whatever he's going to do. But the main thing is to put on the tefillin. So once the tefillin are on, once the physical component of the mitzvah is done, that's the main thing. Then you start to add on other more spiritual levels of the mitzvah in your mind, or with, like I said, davening, etc. But the main thing is the physical mitzvah before you get into the more spiritual elements and the kavanas of the mitzvah. So this is what he says. He says like this. He says, this is the reason why I think we spoke about this last time also, that even though Yaakov Avinu was married to two wives, they each had their own tent. That's how, for tznius reasons, for modesty. So Leah had her own tent, and Rachel had her own tent. When Yaakov Avinu wanted to spend time with Leah, he went into her tent. When he wanted to spend time with Rachel, he went into Rachel's tent. The point that he makes now is, it's brought down in Chazal that Yaakov Avinu spent most of his time in the tent of Rachel, and it's not because he liked her more. I mean, it could be in a physical way or emotional. It could be he liked her more, but the deeper part of this was that Rachel represented the physical mitzvah, and Leah represented the kavana of the mitzvah, the higher element. So this is the limit of this. He spent more time with Rachel to teach us that the physical mitzvah is where you have to spend most of your time and effort, and the rest of it that's extra. That's why he spent more time by Rachel's tent and less time by Leah's tent. Now, you see at the end of this paragraph, there's a little in brackets that says Lamed Tes. If you go to the top of the page, Lamed Tes, Ha'ikris. So he says. So he had said that the physical mitzvah is the ikris, is the main mitzvah. So look over here. It says in the Holy Zohar, Sheyakov Avinu hishtadel over Rachel shehi bechinas niglis. So you see here that Yaakov Avinu was much more involved with Rachel, because Rachel is the bechina of revealed. Umimena hisig v'tiken es Leah she bechinas nistaris. After Yaakov Avinu was more involved with Rachel, then he also was somewhat involved with Leah. Rachel is called, we had said before that Rachel is called the revealed world, and Leah is called the hidden world. What do we see from this? Lamadnu shemitoich she'adam mishtadel lahasig ma shenigla loy yizke lahasig gam ma shenister mimenu. Ayin sham. So it says in the Zohar, it says we learn from this that if you try very, very hard to do the mitzvahs in a proper way, in a physical way, and you work on that, then through that you will be able to understand higher levels of the mitzvah. But the main mitzvah is the physical part. And if you're very, very muhudar in the physical mitzvah, putting on the tefillin, putting on the tzitzis, keeping Shabbos, then you will, the Zohar says, you will be able to graduate to the higher levels of the mitzvah, which is represented by Leah. Good? Keep going. Let's keep going. Sorry. Yeah, amen. Kol ha'inyan shel avodas Yaakov Avinu in Rachel v'Leah. The whole inyan of the avoida of Yaakov Avinu with Rachel and Leah, muvur b'Zohar HaKadosh. It says in the Zohar, Iba Eitz Chaim, and in Sefer Eitz Chaim, which is the primary work of the Arizal, Uba Pri Eitz Chaim, and then you have Pri Eitz Chaim, which is basically the kavanas of the mitzvah. So he's saying that if you want to go deeper into the whole avoida of Yaakov, Rachel, and Leah, you look in these svarim and you'll see it over there. Okay, let's continue, please. So now we're on the bottom paragraph in Kuf Ayin Aleph. The To'eles Hayediyah Be'elu Advarim Hi. What is the purpose of knowing these things that we just spoke about? Bechdei sheyizvada lanu, it should be known to us, biyadiyah brura, it should be known to us clearly. Eich sha'avois hakadoshim hayu merkava l'shchina. In certain circles, they don't always talk about our forefathers in such a positive way. And this is a tremendous, tremendous error and mistake. Our tzaddikim never, ever, ever said anything negative in the slightest about any of our forefathers, such as Avram, Yitzchak, Yaakov, Moshe, Aaron, David, Shlomo. Again, certain things the Chazal, if the Chazal say something, they say something. If the pasuk says it says something. But we have to know that these people were massive, massive, massive tzaddikim, and even if they made mistakes, it's not like when you and I make a mistake. The mistakes they're very, very high people, and they made mistakes on a very, very high level. And the mistakes were very, we call it dakistic, like thin. It wasn't like an open trust a mistake like we make. So what he says here is, you see from when the Zohar explains what Yaakov Avinu was really doing when he married two sisters, you have to know these things, because you will see that the Avois are the Merkava l'Shechina. They are the chariot of the Shechina. That's what's going on. These people that we have, our Avois, our forefathers in Chumash and in Nevi'im and Ksuvim, they were actually like the chariot of the Shechina. The Shechina actually rested upon them, and the actions that they did were fixing the parts in Shemayim that needed to be fixed. V'hayu kol kulam devukim. All of our avos were entirely attached. Turn the page to Kuf Ayin Gimel. Umekusharim bo'ilamois el yoinim ruchaniyim. The forefathers, the avos, were entirely attached to the higher spiritual worlds. V'chol avoidasam, and all of their avoida, all of their, we said it last time, all their worship, all their effort, service, thank you. V'chol avoidasam, all their service, v'asiyasam, boilam azan, everything they did in this world, haisa l'saken tikinim, gevoihim ve'elyoinim, ve'inyanim, shahem l'mala mahasagosenu. The things that they were doing, even though in the Chumash it looks like they were doing simple physical things, what actually was going on is they were doing tikinim gevoihim ve'elyoinim. They're doing massive repairs. The inyanim shem l'mal mehasagasenu. They were repairing things. They were fixing things that are way above what we could understand and imagine. That's what was going on when they were doing the things that they were doing in these stories that we have in Chumash. V'ayidei avoidasam b'kodesh. And through their holy avoida, heichini v'hirshi koyach l'chol isha Yisraeli b'fratois la'avoidasa yisborach shemoi kol hayamim. Because our avois broke through and were able to accomplish these great spiritual tasks in Shemayim when they were down here on this world, they broke through for us and they enabled us. They implanted in us a root in every Jewish person, specifically, to be able to do avodas Hashem for the entire history until Mashiach comes. Okay, that is the end of this Hakdama Ches. We're going to turn now to Hakdama Tes Daled Oilamos. So we're going to read just on the introduction page. Boy Yizvari ha'eser svirais shall seder hadaled oilamos. In this Hakdama, or in this Perek, we are going to explain the seder of the four main spiritual worlds: Aleph Atzilus, Beis Bria, Gimel Yetzira, Daled Asiya, Va'avodas ha'adam la'alois bahem ve'es tfilas shachris. And we're going to explain the avoida of a man, of how these worlds go up when he davens in the morning shachris. Please turn the page, and we are now on Kuf Ayin Zayin. Daled Oilamos, the four worlds. The Malan Isbar Sha Eser Sviros Nechlakim Raraba Bechinois. Above, we have already explained that the 10 spheres are divided into 4 bechinos. So what are those 4? So yes, it's true. We have said this previously. Yes, it's true there are 10 spheres, but there are 4 categories, general categories of those 10 spheres. And they are called, in the brackets, Chachma, Bina, Tiferes, Malchus. So we're going to take those 10 and group them into 4 groups. The Atanavar, now we will explain, Shekemoy Chein, Yesh Kenegdam, Daled Oilamas HaNoidoim. And according to those 4 categories, Chachma, Bina, Tiferes, Malchus, there are also going to be 4 worlds. Now, I think we spoke about this in the past. We definitely did. There's going to be a lot of 4s, because ultimately it means because Hashem's name is Yud Kei Vav Kei, and it is made of 4 oisias. So because of that, necessarily in the world there will be many. What's the word that I want to say? Projections of that down here that will come out in 4s. And one of the main spiritual projections of the name Yud Kei Vav Kei of 4 is the 4 worlds. Yes. And what are these 4 worlds? What are these 4 worlds? Atzilus is the highest. Bria is 1 below. Yetzirah is 1 below that, and Asiya is 1 below that, which is the low physical world that we are all in. V'nikroim b'Rosh Tevis, we use an acronym for these four worlds, Abiyah. So you'll see this a lot in Chassidus Sfarim, Abiyah. So Aleph for Atzilus, Beis for Bria, Yod for Yetzira, Ayin for Asiyah. V'soidam yoytze mi pasuk, and their secret comes out of a pasuk in Yeshaya. In Yeshaya it says Hashem is talking. It's probably Yeshaya talking. It's Yeshaya talking, but he's saying what Hashem is saying. He was a prophet. He was a Navi. So Yeshaya says, Kol hanikra b'shmi v'lichvoidi berasiv yitzarsiv af asisiv. So he says there, everyone who Kol hanikra b'shmi, everyone who calls out in my name, v'lichvoidi, and calls out to my honor, or in my honor, berasiv, I created them, yitzartiv, I formed them, afasisiv, I made them. So look in the brackets, let's go back. So he says, v'lichvoidi is Atzilus. What's Hashem's kavod, Hashem's honor? That's the highest world, Atzilus. Berasiv is Bria. I created them, is Bria, because it's Berasiv is the Lashon of Bria. Yitzartiv, I formed them, is the world of Yetzira, the same Shorish. Afasisiv, and I made them, that is connected the world of Asiyah. So in the pasuk in Yeshaya you have a remez to these four oilamos. As a general rule, by the way, anything that you'll see in the Zohar, Kisra, Arizal, you're going to have ramazim for these things in Chumash and in Navi and in Ksuvim, etc. So this is how they are divided. Aleph. Keneged Sfiras Chachma. Yeah, sure.
Do you know where's the first recorded instance of reference to these worlds? In this, but I see there's a reference to it in this pasuk. But where's the first time where it's?
Where's the first time it says it in Chazal?
First time, earliest mention that there's something called Dalit Elamis, and like is it?
It's a good question. It's a good question. So, I'm sure it's for sure in the Zohar. You're asking, so I'm not such a bucky in Chazal, unfortunately. So I couldn't tell you, but if you'd ask me what the earliest source I know for sure, the question is only if the question is, do you have those four worlds in Sefer Yetzirah? Maybe. Could it be? I think so. Could it be? So Sefer Yetzirah is officially Meyuchas to Avram Avinu, though they say that Rabbi Akiva completed it or edited it. So could go as far back as that.
So whether it's Zohar or Rabbi Akiva, for sure Tanaim times?
That's what it sounds like, yeah. Yeah, that's what it sounds like. Okay, good question. Aleph. Keneged Sfiras Chachma yesh olam hanikra Atzilus. So, the Sfira of Chachma in Shemayim, what through the hashba of that Sfira comes out the world of Atzilus. In other words, Atzilus, this highest world, it's not the highest, but it's from these four it's the highest. So it is the root of that world is the Sfira of the cosmic Sfira of Chachma. Hanetzel me'es yud shel havaya, and that Sfira of Chachma is connected the yud of yud kei vav kei. Shezeh hasfira harishoina shehetzel HaKadosh Baruch Hu me'orei kaviyachol. So what he says here is this is the first Sfira that Hashem created from His light. Now the truth is that above Chachma there is Keser. Chachma is really the second Sfira. So above Chachma is Keser, but Keser is considered so high and so you can't touch it, you can't understand it. So, in other words, Keser is considered really attached to the level above, which is called Ak, or Adam Kadmon, which we spoke about in the past. So in this way, he's saying that the first kind of Kaviyachol, separate Sfira is Chachma, even though Chachma is number 2, but it's the first kind of separation because Kesser is so connected to its source. V'hu lashon hifresh. We have a pasuk in Bamidbar. V'yatzel min ariach. So it says like this. It says we have a pasuk in Chumash that Moshe Rabbeinu was commanded by Hashem to designate Shivim Zakenim, 70 elders of Klal Yisrael, and it says that what happened there is that Moshe Rabbeinu's spirituality, let's call it that way, his ruach, went from him and it went on to the Shivim Zakenim, to the 70 elders. That's what it says. So he says over here, see, what we're trying to do is explain what does this word Atzilus mean. So the first explanation of the word is hifresh. Hifresh means it's separated. In other words, Moshe Rabbeinu separated from himself, let's call it ruchnius or spirituality, and put it onto the Shivim Zakenim, onto the 70 elders. So this word Atzilus, so that's what the pasuk says, Vayatzel. So Vayatzel means over here to separate and to give from yourself to the second party. Let's turn the page to Kuf Ayin Ches. Now he's going to give you another reason why it's called Atzilus. V'gam lashon etzloi. Kihi adayin karoi v'davik legamri be'einsoi borachi. Okay, so another explanation of the word Atzilus means Eitzel means near. Okay, in Lashon Kodesh, Eitzel means near. So because the world of Atzilus is so high up there, and it's so close to Hashem Himself, which we refer to as Ein Sof, it's called Atzilus because it means near. There's another pshat that he doesn't say, that Atzilus is a lashon of tzel, of a shadow. It's as if to say that why are you looking? Why are you?
Said the word shadow the same second.
Come on.
It was really weird.
He did?
Mamish.
There you have it, folks. The Daf Yomi Shir said the word shadow when I said the word shadow. It's really, it comes out that Rabbi Liederman is my shadow. Okay, that's pretty cool. It's not strange. It makes perfect sense. And we're talking about a shadow. It's fantastic. So, you know how to say fantastic in Yiddish? Fantastisch. Okay. So there's a third pshat that he doesn't say here, that Atzilus is a lashon of tzel, which means a shadow. What does that mean? That means that Hashem, I'm just trying to think which shadow. So it means the world of Atzilus is kaviyachol, as if it's a shadow of Hashem. Hashem is up on top, is the main thing, and then you cast a shadow, right? You cast a shadow on the ground. So Atzilus compared to Hashem is considered like a shadow of Hashem. In other words, it's the same kind of form, same shape, but lower, right? So that's another pshat of why Atzilus is called Atzilus. Okay, so that's the world of Atzilus, the highest of these worlds. Base. Keneged Sfiras Bina. So Keneged, the next category that we call Sfiras Bina, Yesh Olam Nikra Bria. So the second world down is called Bria, and the source or the root of that world is the Sfira of Bina, the cosmic Sfira of Bina. Hanivra me'ois hei rishona shel havaya. And that Sfira of Bina has a root also, and its root is the first Hey in the name Yud K Vav K, the first Hey. Kibria Moira al Yitzias hadavar me'ayin le'esh. Me'ayin le'yesh. Now he says a very, very important thing that you're going to see many, many times. And the concept is that when creation happens, true creation happens, what's happening is that you're going from a state of nothingness to a state of somethingness. And the way that that's expressed in Lashon Kodesh in Hebrew is you're going from ayin, which means nothing, leyesh, to yesh, which means something. And what he's saying here is that when the world of Bria was created, you were going from a state of nothingness to somethingness. In other words, like this, Atzilus is so close to the source, it's still considered ayin. It's still considered nothingness because it's too high up and we don't understand it. We have no hasaga in it. So even though it is a creation, Atzilus, but we still call it ayin. We still call it nothingness because we can't get it. We can't grasp it. We have no hasaga in it. But when Bria was created, that was called taking nothingness, which is Atzilus, and creating from nothingness somethingness, which is the world of Bria. Masha'ein came. Oh, he says here. Now look in the brackets. Masha'ein came. Oilam Atzilus adayin karoiv v'davuk be'ein soy borachi. So you're saying, Atzilus was a creation, yeah, but it's so karoiv, it's so close, v'davuk, and attached to Ein Sof Baruch Hu. The Svarim say that Atzilus being attached to, the way to understand Atzilus being attached to Ein Sof is the way you would understand a turtle attached to its shell. That's what it says. So I guess in this mushal, the turtle would be Ein Sof and the shell would be Atzilus, something like that. So let me say it clearly. The turtle and the shell, it's two different things, really, right? It's not the shell is a hard shell. The shell is right. It's different than the turtle, but it's at the same time it's part of the turtle. That's what the nimshal is. Let's keep going on the fourth line. V'hi gam melashon bara. So he says like this. He says the world of Atzilus, the world of Bria, is from a lashon of bara. Bara means created. So shekavanase chutz. That means created means there's a new thing. It's outside. It's outside of the original thing. That's why it's called Bria. Again. Atzilus was first to be created, but the second world is called Bria because Bria is a lashon of bara, which means creation. Because the first world was a creation, but it was so close to Ein Sof, we don't feel it, we can't understand it. But the second world is a creation we can appreciate, and that's the world of Bria. The kavan is it's something outside now, a new addition outside to the original thing. Kivan shehu kvar ktsas movdo mahamakor. Now, Bria is very interesting how he says it. He says Bria is now a little bit separated from the root. It doesn't say totally separated because Bria is also very, very, very high up there. So as a matter of fact, I mean the way that they say, I don't want to go into this, but if the description of the four worlds is like this. This world is where physicality is, and all human beings and animals and insects and atoms and all the physical things are in this world. That's the world of Asiya. You go one higher up to the world of Yitzira. This is the world of Malachim. The dwelling place of Malachim, of angels, is in one level up, is in not to say that they can't come down here. They can, but their main place where they dwell is one up in Yitzira. The next world of Bria is called the Olam HaKisei, the world of the throne. And the next one up, Atzilus, is called the man who sits on the throne. Now, Hashem is not a man, Hashem does not sit, and so these are all parables. But so what the reason I'm saying this now is That's what it means. That's what he means to say that it's a little bit separated from the root, because it's not yet the world of angels. It's still the world of the throne of Hashem, Kaviyachol. So it's a little bit separated. It's not Hashem. It's the throne of Hashem, so to say. Aval adayin hu ne'lama mitoich hamoichin, but really the world of Bria is still hidden in the moichin. What he means in the moichin, it means to say that if you think about yourself, which we are a total parallel, we've spoken about this in the past, we are parallel of everything that happens up there. So in our body, we also have a parable of the 10 spheres, and that is. And let's just start with our head. So in our head, we have right brain, left brain, and that's going to be called Chachma and Bina. So the same way that you can't see my brain, you can experience my brain when you talk to me, when we interact, but you can't see it. The same way that the oilam of Atzilus and the oilam of Bria is connected the Svira of Chachma and Bina, which is considered like the Kaviyachol, the brain of Hashem, Kaviyachol, if you can say it that way. So it's hidden. It's way up there. You can gain from what comes out of there, but you can't see that thing. You can't experience that thing. Okay, Gimel. Connected Sfiras Tiferes. So the world that is rooted in the sphere of Tiferes, Hakoil Shisha Sfiras Hagasnehi, and the sphere of Tiferes, as we said before, is a group. Represents a group of 6 spheres, which is Chagas Nehi, which is Chesed Gvura Tiferes Netzach Hod Yesod. Yesh Olam Hanikra Yitzira. So the root of the world Yitzira is the sphere of Tiferes, which is really those 6 spheres, Chagas Nehi. Hanoitzim oisvav shel havaya, which and the root of that sphera of Tiferes, which is the 6 spheres, the root of that is the oisvav of Shem Havaya. And by the way, it's not a coincidence that the oisvav is gematria 6, and keneged the oisvav there are 6 spheres. We spoke about that in the past. Kfar kibul surah meyuchedes la'atzmoi hanikra hanira v'nigla kivan shehu kvar be'almin de'izgalyan. Okay, now let's just to get an example of it. If you look at a human being, kaviyachol, we said that you can't really see the right brain and the left brain of a person. You can see his head, but you can't see what's going on inside. However, the ois vav of the Shem Havaya is connected the 6 spheres, which are Chesed, Gvura, Tiferes, Netzach, Hod, Yesod. And we said in the body, Netzach is Chesed, right arm, Chesed, Gvura, left arm, Tiferes is the trunk or the central part of the body, Netzach, Hod is right leg, left leg, and Yesod is the Aver. So that you can physically see those things. So this world, called the world of Yetzira, is already called Alman Dizgalyan, is called worlds that can be seen. It's not hidden anymore. Nobody. You can't see the world of Yetzira. We can't. But if you compare Yetzira to the other 2 worlds of Bria and Atzilus, Yetzira can be much more experienced and understood much more than the 2 worlds above it, Bria and Atzilus. So that's what he says. Kikvar kibul tsura. Oh, so why is it called Yetzira? Because now there's a tsura. Tsura means a form. This world already, we're going to call it that it has a form. It has a form. Tsura meyuchedes la'atzma. It has its own form. Hanira, you can see it. V'nigla, it's revealed. Kivan shikvar ba'almin des galyan, because it's considered already in the revealed worlds. Dalid, the fourth world. Keneged Sfiras Malchus. Keneged the sphere of Malchus, yesh olam nikra Asiya. We have the world that is called Asiya. This is our low physical world down here. Hanasim ois hey tata shel havaya. And this world was created from the second hey of Yud K Vav K. In other words, the root of this world is the second hey. And he's going to say Shehu and the Sphira of Malchus. Shehi Akarov beyoser lo'olam hamasa. This world is the most closest to the world of action. It is the world of action. I don't know why he's saying Shehu Akarov beyoser. I don't know what he means. It's the closest. Lo'olam hamaisa. I think it is called lo'olam hamaisa. Okay, let's keep going. Well, okay. The Tevas Asiya. The word Asiya, the gematria Shechina. Very interesting. The word Asiya has the same gematria as the word Shechina. Now the Shechina means the presence, the divine presence. The Hoyrois, this teaches us Shehagam Shehu Olam Hamaisa, even though this world is the world of deed, in Kol Zeh, still, turn the page to Kuf Pei. Shoichin b'soichoi or Hashem Yisbarach. Even though this world of Asiya is the physical world, and when I say physical world, we understand it's only possible to do an Aveira down here. A person can't do it. I mean, we don't go to the world of Yetzira, Bria, or Asiya. But the bottom line is, you can't do an Aveira up there. Those places are too spiritual for Aveiras or for people to do things wrong. The only place really that Chas v'Shalom we have the free choice to go against the will of Hashem is only down here in this world. So what he's saying is like this. So again, I'm going to read it again. L'hoyroi shagam shu olam hamaisa in kol zeh shoichem b'soichel or Hashem Yisbarach. Even though this is a physical world, and this world, Hashem is very hidden in this world. He's hard to find, and a person chas v'shalom in this world could say, "There is no God. I don't believe in God. Prove it to me." So in this low world, even here Hashem dwells here. And that's why it's important to know this gematria, that the gematria of Asiya is the gematria of Shechina, which means the divine presence. And the way that we say it actually is, if you want to view Hashem, the reason why down here we have male and female is because up there's also kaviyachol, an aspect of male and female, even though Hashem is all one. But in our view, if we look at up to Hashem, you will kind of see a male and a female. Don't take this in the wrong way. Hashem is all one. But the illusion is that there's kind of male and female, which means we will say that Kutsha Brihu, or the six spheres, Chesed, Gvura, Tiferes, Netzach, Chod, Yesoid, represent Kutsha Brihu. That is the male aspect, Kavayachal of Hashem. And the 10th sphere, which is Malchus, or number 7, from 6 to 7, from you go, if the top are 6 and that's the 7th, that's going to be called Malchus, that's going to be called the female. V'gam hi ikar tikkun hashchina hi v'gam ki ikar tikkun hashchina hi ba'olam Asiya. Now, what he's saying here is like this, is that the way he explained, he says tikkun, this is how the Sfarim explain this, that the Shechina has to be fixed. It sounds strange, because what do you mean you don't fix God? But we're not talking about God in his essence. We're talking about whatever has gone wrong down here. Okay, if you have people here that don't believe in Hashem, if you have evil people here, if you have people doing Averis here, then something has gone wrong. That is called a pgam in the Shechina. That is called the Shechina has been tainted. Something is wrong down here in the Shechina. Doesn't mean it's a problem in Hashem chas v'shalom. It means that if everything would be working properly and Mashiach would be here, there wouldn't be Averis. and everyone would be at peace, and there'd be no war, etc., 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 etc. There'd be no disease. But because there are averas and there is disease, and there are people that struggle for parnasa, etc., etc., that means that there is a pagam in the Shechina kaviyach. There's something wrong down here in the Shechina. We have messed something up. We've taken something divine and messed it up. So what he's saying in here is the main place of our avoida that we can fix the Shechina kaviyachol, or we can fix what we have messed up, is down here. Okay, this is where this is the place of action. This is the place of choosing right from wrong. It's not in the other three worlds. It's down here that all the bechira, all of our freedom of choice to do right or wrong or good, everything we can fix, it only gets fixed down here. The sidri lani kad moinenu say the tefillas. What'd you say? Are we having a marif? No, we don't know. Okay, well, we have like another 10 minutes. Okay. The sidri lanu kad moinenu say the tefillas shachris. Our Chazal have set up for us the seder, the order of Tefillah Shachris, of the Shachris prayer, the Chol Yoim, that we say every day. Al derech hadalid oilamas halalu. Now, Kabbalistically, when we daven, we are going to be moving through these four worlds, and we're going to explain how that works. Ve'oifen halicha madrega lemadrega. The way it works is that we travel from one level to a higher level, ke'ein shenichnasin laheichol melech basar v'dam. The same way, just as we enter to the palace of a human king, basar v'dam, right? The flesh and blood king, the king. What does he mean to say? He means to say like this: that usually we're not used to a king's palace. We don't have a connection to that. You can go to. There are certain Medinas that still have palaces of kings. You can go to England and see where the kings used to live, and you can go to the Tower of London, etc., etc. Still what?
They have a king.
They have a king, even though it's a
palace.
Right, correct. But they don't really have the powers of a king and queen. However, a king and queen. But if you'll go to Jordan, Kaviyachol, he's a king. He's not elected. He's a king, and he sits in a palace, and he's a king. And I imagine the way it works is if he wants to put someone to death, he can do it because he's the king. I imagine. So now, when a person enters the palace of a flesh and blood king, so the way it works is that first, before you enter the palace, it's the royal gardens. And then you enter, and there's like a lobby, and then you sign in, and then as you move towards the inner area of the palace, you get into more exclusive territory, and only at this level these people are allowed to go further. At this level, these there's different clearances that different people according to their rank are able to go until you get into the Heichel HaPanimi, the inner sanctum, which is the throne room, where the king himself sits on the throne. This mashal, which is actually the way it works in this world, we don't see it a lot anymore, but it used to be the whole world worked like this. The reason that the world works like this and did work like this is because this world is a shadow of everything that happens up there. Okay, so the reason that everything we see in this physical world is only a reflection of what is going up on high, what is going on up on high. So he's going to say, now listen to this. This is a lashon Chazal. Ki malchusa derakia ke'ein malchusa da'ara. I think it's a Gemara. And what it means is that the Malchus in Shemayim is exactly like, or is like the Malchus on our earth. In other words, the Malchus on our earth is a reflection of the Malchus in Shemayim. let's now let's just go. I want to go back. There's an important comment here. So let's go. You see, at the end of the first paragraph, there's a yud in brackets. So if you go to Kuf page, on this page, Kuf Pei, the top right, go to the yud, Asiya. So we said we're talking about now the last of the four worlds, the most physical, our world, the Olam of Asiya. We're going to read inside. Asiya begematria Shechina. Asiya has the same gematria as the word Shechina, Larames. This is a hint. Shehu shoichein gam bezeh ha'olam. Hashem dwells even in this lowly world. And who says this? So what he's quoting now is he's quoting the Avodas Yisrael in Pirkei Avos. The Avodas Yisrael was the Heilige Kozhnitzer Magid. Kozhnitzer Magid was a giant tzaddik. He was a Talmud of the Rebbe Melech. The Rebbe Melech was a Talmud of the Rebbe Revere. The Mizitcher Magid was a Talmud of the Baal Shem Tov. So the Kozhnitzer was a massive tzaddik. He spread a lot of the Hasidus to the Medina of Poland. He lived in Poland. And he wrote many Svarim. So it says there, the Ayin Sham, look over there. Shabir, he explains, Shabir Oid, he explains, the Chol Kema Sha'adam Yagia Imis Ametz Liz Gaber Ala Taivas Ve'achemdois Ha'olam Hazeh. The more a person tries to overpower his bad desires and etc. in this world, Yoiser Magia Tikkun L'Shechina Kadosha. The more he challenges his evil inclination, the more he fixes the Shechina Kaviyachol. And in this way, Kasav Benoi, and in also the same manner, his son wrote in the Sefer Ber Moshe. He had the son of the Kozhnitzer also wrote a very, very famous Sefer called Ber Moshe, and he writes about his father in Parshas Bahar. Shamati, I heard mipi Adonenu Admor Bal Avodas Yisrael mi Kozhnitz. I heard, which he means he's referring to his father. I heard from my father. Zecher Tzadik Livracha She'ikr Tikkun HaShechina. The main fixing of the Shechina Kadosha, of the Holy Shechina, Ki ba'olam hatachton olam ha'asiya, is in this lower world, the world of Asiya. Ki Asiya begematria Shechina. Asiya is the gematria of Shechina. L'rameis, this is a remesh she'ikr tikkun Shechina Kadosha hi ba'olam ha'asiya. The main tikkun of the Shechina is in this low world of Asiya. Ayin Sham, look over there. Okay, so we're basically out of time. Im Yitz Hashem, we'll continue next week. And please keep in mind that the reason that we're learning this is only because the Baal Shem Tov had permission to reveal very, very high things in order for us to use it for Avodas Hashem, for Torah and Mitzvahs.